what has really been a big change in this office is the number of housing problems that we have from Wimborne and Coal Hill. It has shaken us, I think, to find so many young people, older people in unsuitable housing accommodation. And it comes back to the fact that East Dorset District Council had an appalling record for providing social housing. There was one year, just a few years ago, that it was picked up by the Audit Commission for not actually producing one single unit of social housing. And if we put that together with the very low wage rates that you have outside of graduate professions in this area, we do have, as you probably know, a very high ratio of house prices to wages. And so it's extremely difficult for young people to get onto the housing ladder. Equally, private rented accommodation is very expensive. So the national situation is perhaps surprisingly reflected here in what appears to be a very affluent area. We seem to be chasing our tail most of the time in terms of the fact that we are advocating for these cases all the time. I've tried to bang the councils together, to work together. When, for example, we had the opportunity to put up the council tax on second homes, which our councils did, then I feel that money should have been ploughed back into building more homes for local young people. But I think there was a preference to keep council tax down, to divert it to other areas of the county council, which happened. And I think that's a great pity. I feel there should have been much more working together. I think there could have been much more innovation. I have spent my time sending examples from Shropshire and other places where they have managed to produce more housing. And I think there hasn't been a real receptiveness to that with the particular representation that we got in our councils. And interesting, though, we have an ALMO, an arm's length managed housing in Poole, which is absolutely excellent, and they really do look for opportunities. Across the whole constituency, so we've got two education authorities, Poole and Dorset, and traditionally we have been very low funded authorities, both authorities in the bottom 40 and certainly Poole has been in the bottom 5. So I was extremely pleased March 2014 when we had the announcement from David Laws that they were going to address the underfunding of a number of authorities. So both Poole and Dorset actually got extra funding. Well, I'm very proud that this government, despite the very difficult economic situation they found themselves inheriting, that more money has been found for education. That's particularly pleasing in the overall grant to our local authorities, but also we've had these important initiatives of pupil premium. That's something which has taken time for people to really understand, and I think some schools to find how to use it to the best effect.
So I think some of the big influences in the election coming up will be engaging young people. I think that's really important, that we've got a really strong message to give to young people, give them a real reason to vote. I know people of my age, you know, people in their late 30s, early 40s, who don't vote, and they never have voted because they haven't felt a connection. And I think we've got to actually find out what it is that they want will make the difference for them and make sure that message is getting across. I think the NHS is becoming a bigger and bigger concern for people, and I think we have to have a very strong message on that. And I think our message is clear about investing in the NHS and making sure mental health is given a really high profile. And I think people need to understand that we need to get rid of the deficit, but at the same time we need to grow forward. In the last election we were able to negotiate a coalition agreement, and we've delivered 70% of our manifesto. And I think if we are invited to get involved with another coalition, it will depend on whether we're able to deliver. There's no point joining a coalition to prop up something we don't believe in, but we're very strong that if we're asked to go in with the Conservatives, that we'll be more fair than they are, and if we need to go in with Labour, it will be about making sure that the economy is right there in the middle. After all, Mr Miliband forgot to mention the deficit not so long ago, and we need to remind him that that is a big issue. It's been amazing having Annette as a mentor. I first got involved with Annette's campaign back in the year 2000 when I started delivering leaflets and stuffing envelopes and things for her. So she's obviously inspired me to get involved, and over the years I've got more involved, and as my children have got older, Annette and the local Lib-Dem councillors have encouraged me to get involved myself. I'm now a unitary councillor on the borough of Poole, and when Annette decided that she was going to retire, she encouraged me to try and follow in her footsteps, and I was selected in April 2013 to be the candidate, and here we are, just a few weeks away from the end of that journey, and hopefully the beginning of the next one.